All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode here of First Call Ready podcast with me, Ashley, and
Me, Megan.
we are just rolling through our first season of First Call Ready, and it is so fun.
We got a couple episodes under our belts, and we're here to bring you another one today.
Yeah, and today's episode, one of the things that I have said when talking about like wanting 911 to be just a career, right? Like, I want kids when they're getting ready to go Halloween costume shopping and they're like, what do you want to be? Jimmy? And they're like, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be an officer. No. I want them to be like, I want to be a dispatcher. I want them to go to a little spirit store and there's a little dispatcher outfit with a little headset,
I love
keyboard, and like, I want us to be like that level of first responder.
Putting it out there. I like it.
Like, this is a career you should aspire to be. So one of the reasons that I started the Raspy Dispatcher was I got my undergrad and graduate degrees in criminal justice. And then after finally starting to get into this line of work in this industry, I was applying everywhere, patrol, probation, everywhere. And dispatch landed first. And your girl was tired of being broke. Okay. I was very happy, but I wasn't making a lot of money.
Show me the money.
Right. Coaching junior college basketball, working in that higher ed world. So your girl was ready to get some benefit packages going. So dispatch hit, and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Rewind. When you were in college, you were doing criminal justice thinking you were like, what was the goal was to be an officer?
Oh, yeah.
Probation officer. So you never, okay.
Never. Right. Because we never talked about it. We never talked about anything but patrol or corrections because my professor used to be the assistant warden at Leavenworth Penitentiary a couple of years before. So we talked about, he was a big corrections guy. You gotta go corrections, Valenzuela. Every time. I'm like, I'm not going corrections. Shook, no. And he was just, every time wanted me to go to corrections, couldn't do it. But we never talked about all the other intricate pieces that make up the emergency response world. And so I got on with the Sacramento Police Department, went through an amazing academy, had this wonderful experience getting into this new career. And it really annoyed me that we didn't talk about this, or there is no information out there to help people who want to be dispatchers. The same way, if I want to be a firefighter, I can go on and find a man with a mustache on a YouTube channel telling me about the things I need to do to be a firefighter, right? The cop, someone will show me how to jump a wall, right? There's nothing for dispatch because it isn't looked at as a needed or valuable career enough, in my opinion. So, started the Raspy Dispatcher, started having these conversations, and really all that backstory is leading into today's episode, which is leadership in our centers and really looking at this job as the career it is, as the first responder career it is.
That's a great point, Ashley, because I would also say back when I was in college, when you were in grade school, same thing. I changed my major a couple times and it didn't pan out how I thought my college career was going to go. And I took a class and loved my criminal justice. I loved my professor. He was great. He made the class interesting. And I'm like, I actually might not cut class and come to this class. And that was like, and that kind of sparked it with me. So I took another one, and I had 2 or 3 really good instructors that really wrote me in. None of them, although they studied criminal justice, none of them really came from that background. They weren't like a retired cop coming to teach, but it opened my eyes to the field. It never specifically mentioned dispatch or anything to that effect. I just happened to have a college roommate that was like, girl, you need money. I'm making money. I'm doing this dispatch thing. And I was like, what am I going to do with a degree in criminal justice? What am I going to do? And my best friend in college, luckily there was a criminal justice club. And she was kind of like, let's take this thing and run with it, because we were interested in the FBI, not necessarily being an agent, but other things you could do for that. Or, dispatching as a career. Or I thought I was going to be like a CSI person. And then I was like, oh, I have to be sworn to do that. I mean, not every agency, but a lot were, right? There was just not a route for professional staff. staff. So luckily she's like, I'll be the president if you be the vice president. And we just we did a bunch of different like field trips and like really made it our own. And one of them was experiencing dispatch. And I was like, that's kind of cool, especially if you go in.
What's this dark room that's down in this basement?
Oh, wait, here's a pursuit, but I don't have to chase anybody? What? Like, you know? So definitely coming from a sports background as well, the team environment and that like adrenaline junkie that never really goes away. Yeah. That's like kind of how it painted that picture to me. But you're right. I thought it was still a job. Even when I started, I wasn't thinking like a career. And I'm like, we have pretty great retirement systems and like all these things. Like, I'm like, are we letting people know this is an option, you know? And I think we as an industry have failed that in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And you know something I really like to push too in regards to us being an option is, and we both found this through higher ed, but you don't need a college degree to do this job. And I sometimes when we have that conversation and we point out that reality, people take that as like we're lessening our standards or we're dropping our, like, no, just education is valuable, important, all those things, but it's not the answer to everything.
It's not.
And you do not need a degree to be a smart individual. You do not need a degree to necessarily be a successful individual. And if you're early in life and you don't want to make a $60,000 to $100,000 investment in a little piece of paper, come work first. Let's see where life takes you. Because one thing, you don't need a criminal justice degree, period. If I would go back to change,
I would have rewinded. Yes.
You wouldn't have me with an administration of justice degree, especially 2 of them. So
yeah, that kind of locks you in. But like, who knew? I did not know back then. Right? Yeah.
But there's so much value in higher education, and you learn so much socially. You're exposed to so many things, but trying to make it out here in this world, trying to get money for a house, like trying to pay rent, trying to have benefits, trying to have retirement. You can do all that in this line of work without a college degree.
And you'd be surprised how many agencies actually will pay your tuition or a good lump of it. So like maybe you do start dispatching, and once you hit your stride, you're like, okay, now I can go to school and go back and get a couple, classes under my belt and stuff. I definitely think there's a strong value to higher education, which definitely ties to the leadership component if you're looking ahead on promoting up the chain. But I would also tell you is strong believer here is leadership is most effective at the lowest levels, and we're all leaders in that center, no matter what your title, rank, role is. So let's start there,
And I mean, the title of this episode is Grow Anyway. And when we're talking about leadership, when we're talking about career growth and career paths in our centers, we have to acknowledge that, Ashley, it's not all sunshine and roses in every single center. So we have to talk about centers that have great leadership and great support, and centers that don't, and how to navigate those centers when those situations arise.
I think we all take a little bit of, we all can think of right away, we're dispatchers. You can all think of that one leader that you were like, oh, I would never do that.
And their name never. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I'm on. Their name is. Oh no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
That's the after retirement podcast.
Yes. But I would say like that's easy. But you know what? You kind of have to look at that as like, I'm so glad that person showed me what not to do, because now like that does not work. That was not effective for me. That is not effective for the center, because bad leaders, there could be a bad leader with an individual impact. The worst is a bad leader that has a much larger impact for the whole team or the whole division, whole unit, whatever. But then there's the good leaders.
Yes.
And the good leaders, we should be equally taking act. I really liked this. I really like that. And remembering even the good leaders have bad days.
Yes. Yes, they do. Because no one should have to work day shift, okay? I am the worst leader on day shift days. You know what I mean? Like, it's too early. It's not enough time in the day. I can't do it. No,
it's true though. I mean, we all have our ideal pockets when we're at our best, right?
Yes. But we actually this year did a panel at Calnina talking about just leadership and communication and navigating those challenges. And I think one thing that really came up, and I think it was Dom that was making a point, is in regard to like succession planning and really educating your people on what it is you are doing as a leader. So you leave room for people to give you grace when they're not sure what you're doing, right? So every center is built differently. Every center looks differently, right? I'm a working supervisor. There is no confusion on what I'm doing. I'm out here. I'm in the trenches with you. I'm a working supervisor. But in a lot of centers, supervisors are removed from the floor. And I would always encourage, when able, to plug in with your people a little bit, relieve them, give them breaks. It just keeps you fresh on the, pulse of the center on that side. But when no one knows what you're doing and they're feeling neglected or they're feeling unsupported, or I've just been hammered with 1,000 911 calls in 2 minutes, what are you doing? And that, when there's no transparency, it just creates this opportunity for people to make up their own narratives.
Yes, I feel like silence is people are going to make their own narrative, right? Silence is going to be filled by someone, and it's not going to be necessarily always in your favor. Yes. But I think too you dial it back even more. You have the dispatchers, are leaders every day. There's not a supervisor there all the time breathing down your neck. So like you're leading on your own calls. But I'd also say like CTOs, to me, like, talk about the heart and soul of a center is good, solid, hard work. Those people have the hardest job training the new people. Yes, they do. And it's like, that is just such an important role. If you're a CTO out there, first of all, thank you for what you're doing. Secondly, if you're not, please thank your fellow CTOs, because I think they get overlooked a little bit. I definitely
CTO
do.
Burnout, real.
For real. And then, supervisors, yes, now we're talking about leadership in like a form of rank, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be lost upon people. And it doesn't have to be like just dispatch or CTO or all the other TAC dispatch, whatever collateral duties your department offers. There's chance to lead every day. And sometimes it's just leading in the room and setting a good example. And I feel like I don't want that to get lost on anyone, because some people choose to stay a dispatcher their whole career. And that is a very, very noble decision in my part. So usually people go through a stage, you notice, like, you want change or you want more responsibility or you want to create change. And that's what kind of pushes people towards promoting sometimes, which is all great reasons too. But there's some people that are just like, I just want to show up every day, save lives, and do my thing, get my paycheck, and go home. And that is a very noble career. We need people that want to do that. Not if everybody wants to promote, there's only so many places to go, right? So that's not always a great, if you have a really ambitious team, that team's gonna go somewhere else, because there's only going to be so many opportunities to promote. So I think just kind of keeping that in mind too.
And I mean, creating opportunities to have these conversations, creating little opportunities for professional development. We've been doing something in our center, which I thought was really cool. We had our shift teams do like group projects. So we do like an end of the shift meeting, and then they would present their project. But like, when's the last time you've had to get up and do a presentation? School, and it's nothing crazy, okay? This isn't like a 100-hour project anyone's putting together. They pick a topic, they put a little PowerPoint together, they give a little 5-minute presentation. Really low stakes, but it pushes out to professional development, right? So when you get that, you want to bring a walking treadmill into the center, or you want to go, your guys, they put together a real-time crime center proposal that they were able to implement into their center that dispatch has the reins to, right? They were prepared to present that to command staff. And that's really hard for like people to do cold turkey. The last time they did a presentation was their senior project in high school, right?
How times change. I would also say, to that point is, I hear often from my own center, other centers, all the centers, is everyone has great ideas. They're like, our social media sucks. It could be so much better. Why aren't we doing this? Or why don't we have a program to go talk? Let's go to the library and talk to the kids about 911, like when they have story time. What a great target base. All of these are great suggestions. They just take a little bit of execution. That would be a good, like those little projects that you're talking about, like low stakes. And if you come up with it and kind of, that's taking some real leadership in that center. And it's going, hey, I've identified a problem, weak spot, however you want to, classify it. And here's kind of my solution that I'm coming with. Because you know what? I don't want the crime prevention officer or an officer teaching the kids about dialing 911. Like that's just not working for me, right? Like
I
that's
can
not,
do that.
Yeah.
Like that could be our niche, because it is our niche. Right?
That's your everyday in there. So,
and you know what? I'd even make this education be just a step further. You can even practice that giving information to your units, because there is a disconnect between what our job actually functionally looks like in dispatch. I think one very simple example that a lot of people can resonate with, especially when you're dealing with laterals as a dispatcher, lateral officers, lateral dispatchers, is the way you put out your traffic on the radio matters. So if we're programmed in our center, our culture, to give out a name, last name, first name, date of birth, and a lateral from another agency was trained to give out first name, last name, then driver's license, then date of birth. If you give it out the way your old agency, it's all backwards when I'm typing it, right? So giving that informational piece, that educational, finding a way to disseminate information to patrol, like as a training update or a reminder, or not a like, you guys keep messing up this traffic, so we're gonna educate you. Like, no, like, just, we do a little monthly newsletter that reminds you of how this enters the process. Oh, this is what it looks like when we have to locate a vehicle. Oh, like, just things that we both partner with, but you don't necessarily know how it affects my side, because you don't really have to functionally know, but it just helps.
And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be like, let me educate you. It can be like, oh, hey guys, like, we're in briefing, lineup, whatever you call it, and be like, hey, I just wanted to bring up, like, our computer system only accepts us running people in this format. So when you don't give it to us, that's why we're asking you to repeat. And when you like kind of paint those pictures and understand, like, hey, I'm not bitching to bitch.
Yeah, like,
like, I got a reason for this.
Like, this is just an education piece. This is a form of leadership, right? Because it builds trust within patrol and dispatch. It improves that communication factor, and it's just I'm always a big advocate. I'm not telling anybody else how to do their job. I don't want no one telling me how to do my job. I'm not telling anyone else how to do their job, but I want more info to make me do my job better. And the only way I get that is you telling me how you do your job, right? So,
there has to be a little bit of that cross. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I want to say cross-contamination, which sounds really...
I know, and I was like, that just
made
it sound...
I think it's giving what I want it to give, a little cross-contamination.
You do need that, though. I would also say, though, what I want to talk about, another important point, is there's things that we do, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, that diminish trust and actively work against leadership as well. And I feel like if we're going to talk about leadership and being good leaders and being good, stewards of representing our industry and stuff, part of that is when there is the anti-leadership or the naysaying voices,
the negative Nancy's,
those, yes, Nellies, Nicks, whatever you want to, whoever you want to plug in there, is part of that good leadership is being someone to have that courageous conversation and kind of steer that person in like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like what should we do about that? How should we fix that? Like, what can we do? I think that's the tough part of leadership, that if we did more of that at the line level, CTO level, all of those low levels, if we were a little more courageous in having those difficult conversations, it would actually make those that aspire to continue on to formal leadership, those conversations might flow a little bit and be a little less fluffy, where we're not really, I think that's the part of the coaching and mentoring that comes along.
Yeah, and I think we could easily point to insert name Megan, who is the negative Nancy in the room, right?
The pot stir, whatever.
Megan is, every time she comes in here, she's just shitty attitude and hate working with Megan, right? It's easy for us to do that. It's not easy for us to have the conversation with Megan, because sometimes people just don't recognize their impact on the world around. Sometimes people just call people, and sometimes people are just mean, and those are who they are. But we have to give people the opportunity to do better. We have to be willing to have those conversations. And that, if you don't feel comfortable having that conversation as a peer, supervisors should be stepping up to have those tough conversations. That's kind of what we're there for.
That's what it is. It goes into like leadership, right? There's manufactured leaders. You can read a million books, you can watch a million, podcasts, especially ours, and webinars. But does that, just because you do that, just because you check a box, does that make you a leader? Just if like you can get awards and accolades and all of that does not make you a leader. That sometimes, unfortunately, is just a popularity contest. You know what I mean? So I think it really digs into, it's like, what are you doing? Leadership takes work. It's, and some are just, they're manufacturer leaders. And like I said, then there's the natural bone leaders. Like we all know a couple of those that you're like, I am following that person into the fire. Like they're going to say, come on, we're going to walk on this bed of nails, making it, it's not going to hurt a bit. And I'm like, well, if you say so, I would not, like, I'm not, you're not going to steer me wrong. But that is harder. And that's like, you have to put in work to evolve to that.
You do. We're not great leaders the moment you take those roles. There is definitely a learning curve. I'm a new supervisor in this. I supervise in social work world where I used to do that. But in the dispatch world, I'm a new supervisor. And there is a learning curve. There will always be a learning curve when you're stepping into new positions, new roles, new environments. And I'm sure when you took your role as a director, this is new. This is different. I made some mistakes,
I will say the more you promote, there's a lot less training. It's just like, you got the job, go. Here you go. So there is a lot of figuring it out. There is a lot of that. It's lonely. It gets lonelier at the top. There, your circles become smaller, which you sign up for that, and that's just something you adjust to. But there is that emotional adjustment that you have to get used to, because dispatch is your family, and now you're like a little bit like on a different branch of the tree now. So it just gets, it's a little bit different. You can't know
about the cake stands that are happening in the lot,
No, and I don't want to. Yeah, like you keep that down.
That's a different group chat. You're not allowed in anymore.
I'm all, you keep that on your personal Instagram, okay? I don't want it. No, just kidding. But I think that's it is, and you have to decide. Every rank that you go up is a decision that you have to make. And there is, the positives outweigh the negatives, but there's sacrifices that come with that. And I don't know if we do great in our industry, like laying that out to people, you know? Mm-hmm. Like this is going to be different now. Like your supervisor is much different than your dispatchers. Your supervisor to manager jumps different. Your manager to whatever director, assistant director,
lead dispatcher. Like
100%.
Like every layer of responsibility that is added, things change a little bit. Mm-hmm. When we're looking at this from a professional lens, you have to change a little bit, right? If you want that.
And I think that goes back to our title, right? Grow anyways, is that if you're keeping that growth mindset and keep it going, but you do have to make a conscious, there is days I'm at work where it takes me all the effort that I have to just get through the day and get all my paperwork done, that I'm like, my social battery is tapped. I have nothing left to give. And like, that doesn't feel good for me. Mm-hmm. But then on the same rates, I'm like, I just hope my team will give me grace today. Or I have to go, you know what? Get out this chair, Megan, make your rounds, say hi to everybody, do your morning hugs, whatever, it's hard. It's a choice. So I want the leaders out there that hold a actual rank or title with it to know you're not alone. I think that's important to know. And for those that don't hold a title like that, that's a lot of work for you too every day. And it's equally as important.
Yeah.
It is equally as important.
One of my I love when my leaders can tell me they made a mistake.
Absolutely.
Or that they don't know the answer. Because what I hate is someone sitting playing in my face, like acting like they know what they're talking about. And I know they don't know what they're talking about because
I call BS.
Yeah, I call BS, or like it's just not actually making sense, or we're saying a lot of words without really saying anything. Like, I would much rather, if I bring something to, my direct supervisor or someone who I see as a leader, that we problem solve together because we both know. I was hoping you know the answer, but you're telling me you don't. So, all right, we're in this together now. We're going to figure this out together rather than trying to just be that constant authority figure that never gets it wrong or always has the answer. Like, I love when you have the answer, but it's okay when you don't. Like, it's okay.
And that's where the grace comes in. Yeah. Sometimes the answer changes. And that does not feel good because like dispatchers like black and white, even though we work in the gray all the time, but they do like black and white when it comes to answers. But sometimes the answers do change too. And I think that's where the grace, and we all need to be fluid and a little pliable here and there and like, move with things because sometimes the answer does change. I also feel like if you catch yourself working in you're on your heels and you're like, it's a no. How do we work towards a yes? Or, you know what I mean? And like give that feeling like I'm big on, it's not a no, it's just a not right now. But some people can't grasp that, like, you know what I mean? No, I need it right now, instantaneous. So there's like, we have to like be careful how we brand and word those messages as well. But it is nothing worse than, what's the saying? You can't bullshit a bullshitter. Like, you know what I mean? So you just know when it's getting messy, you just know.
Yeah, I love the culture of like within reason. Like I'm gonna say yes to mostly everything within reason. I don't look to say no. And I want to tell my people yes, 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 as much as I can within reason to make sure that we're meeting operational blah, 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 disclaimer words that my department would love me to hear me say and assert all that. But within reason, I want you to come here, do the job, never have to be mandated. Like, I want to be able to approve all the vacation and time off you need. So you can go to whatever ballet, t-ball game, like all like
make it work.
Sister's birthday. I want to, within reason, always say yes to that. But there are things I have to say no to. There are days where you're gonna tell me I have concert tickets, and I tell you, well, no one else is willing to come work it. You're like, you're it. Like it's that. And I, supervisor Ashley, hate that. And I think we forget that too. I think, and I've always tried, I mean, obviously now I'm in a supervisor role, so I'm on the other side of it now, but before, like, I knew when my supervisor messaged me and mandated whatever, they hated fucking sending that text.
Oh, it was nothing you looked forward to. Yeah.
Hated sending that text. They do not like bothering me, telling me I'm coming in. Like, they don't like
If everyone would just set up so there was never a mandate, it wouldn't be a problem.
Right? So, like, let's remember that. For some reason, you find their diary and they're like, I love mandating Megan in. Like, well, maybe we need to do some other evaluations. But for the most part, our leaders do not like ruining our time, our day, telling us no. And I think we need to remember that and give folks grace when that, and I think we say give folks grace
a lot,
but it just like, people are just trying to do their jobs. They're trying to make everyone happy in a world where we can't make everyone happy and go home at the end of the day. Like,
and we say the grace a lot because honestly, I think we're convincing ourselves, like, we have to give ourselves grace too. And I don't think we're not good at that as dispatchers, you know? And I just think of when someone says no or not right now or however they're wording it, is sometimes you gotta, like, I find myself sometimes reflecting back going like, all right, let me go run through the list of a couple of those positives I've gotten in the last couple months, because then I go like, okay, now when I balance that out, it's not as, it just doesn't sting as bad when I'm like, okay, but we did get this, and this. All right, it's not the end of the world.
One of the things we talk about all the time at First Call Ready is that our profession deserves better. Better training, better support, better tools, better leadership.
That is exactly why we're excited to partner with This Gen 911. They're helping emergency communication centers hire better, train faster, and support their people.
Through realistic call simulations, immediate coaching, and tools designed for everyone, from trainees to supervisors and directors, they're helping build stronger teams behind the headset.
Because when dispatchers have the opportunity to practice, learn, make mistakes, and grow in a safe environment, they show up more confident when the real call comes in.
They're investing in the future of emergency communications and helping create the kind of profession we all want to be a part of.
Now let's get back to the show.
But also, too, if it is a no or a not right now, how do we get to a yes? Like, you know what I mean? And I will say, especially when you bridge from supervision to management and above, is budget dictates all. Not like it has a huge impact on everything.
Budget is everything. It has been the bane of my existence lately, and it's the bane of everyone's existence.
I'm telling you, most cities are not sitting like flush and fat.
No one got it. No one got it for us.
No one. It's not Oprah. And you get a car and you get a car. That's not happening. But I would say it's a tough thing to navigate because budget does dictate all. And it doesn't matter if you are someone that's like, well, I don't believe it. I don't believe we don't have money. Like numbers are numbers, but at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is this is how much we have for that. We have spent it all. Or this is how much we have for that. And what you're asking for, we'll take half of it. Yes. And that's not how it works. Like half of it doesn't go to you.
But I love this idea, succession planning, right? Like maybe you want to promote, maybe you don't, but no matter what your political advices are right now, the mayor of New York, Mondami, if you're on any social media, I don't live nowhere near New York, but that man pops up on my page, just makes me so happy. But he's putting out, they're doing their budget for the city of New York, and he's putting out these reels, these informational reels, explaining the budget. Like, we operate on 2 budgets, and then we present this, and then we vote on it, and then from that conversation, we do this budget. So he's educating his constituents about how this works so they can get involved in making it work. And again, regardless of your political views, if you could take that and implement it into your center, okay, budget is huge for us. Let's talk about how our budget actually works. How many people have emails from their union who's fighting for your budget and your contract, and you just let me know when it's done? You know what I mean? You don't really understand it. You don't really, your retirement, your CalPERS, I mean, I put money in, but like, do you really know how it works? Because there's only one guy at the department who like knows the like retirement tea and who like tells you what to do, right? Like,
we all know who that person is because you're like, hey, run the numbers for me.
So like if I do, but just if we can create transparency with how this thing works, because I tell people all the time, department, we're a family. Cute. Love it. Love that for you. But this is a business. At the end of the day, our departments are a business. And if you aren't protecting the business, the department doesn't give a shit. And that comes into play with the budget. So if we have more understanding of how it all works and how it's built and where the money comes from, and
it's not my checkbook.
Yeah,
if it's up to me, you get a raise. I am Oprah. If it's up to me, you get a raise, and you get a raise, and you get a raise, and you get an extra bonus because you did this.
You get a take-home car.
Yes, that's 100%. I'm on board with that. Unfortunately, it's not my personal checking account, and I'm not writing those checks. You know, and there's a process to go through, and I think definitely talking about money now, but that does impact.
It does,
but it's the other part of leadership and finding out how to brand the message. But I'd also tell people, if you're curious, just ask. Like, just ask, because are you flooding email boxes and it's like, I'm not going to send this integral message, or maybe it's not even an integral message, but like an overall message when nobody's going to read it and delete it anyways. But if someone comes to me from my team and says, hey, can we get a little more information on ABC 123? We can be like, yeah, come to briefing. We're going to talk to everybody about it. Or, hey, here's an email. I'm really trying to shift from everything in writing and email to more like in person or like word of mouth interactions. It just like everything that's on paper is just like black. Then people are like black and white.
I hate policy by email. It's such a pain.
It is. So let's just have a discussion.
Yeah.
But there's also so many hours in a day for everybody, and there's so many employees in the department, but there's ways we can, work around that. We're not here to solve all the world's problems in this hour, but
yes, we are. That is what the First Call Ready podcast was created to do.
Which is our next episode. No, I'm just kidding. No. But I think back to our point is there's ways to grow throughout dispatching is, as we joke, we're our own worst jokers on this. I'm just a dispatcher. When someone calls and be like, are you an officer? No, I'm just a dispatcher. Like, you all know you've said that in your career before or heard your partner say that. And, we're being our own worst enemy. We're not just dispatchers. You're a dispatcher. It's a career. It's a career that takes like 12 months to train to do, 8 to 12 months to do. This is not an easy job, but we don't want to discourage people from doing it. We want to say, hey, you want to be a part of public safety, law enforcement, policing. Here are your opportunities. And this is one. So like you said, like you should be able to go to the Halloween store and get your little headset and a little polo, like quarter zip or polo and and your Yeti, we should have you need to have like all the dispatch things, right? So it comes and are our departments branding forwardly on their social media? Is your dispatchers getting some highlights in there? And a lot of people are. So I think we are trending in a much better direction.
We are, yes. There are more dispatch voices, but we need more. And we need them at every level. I think one of your biggest initiatives is that you could lead from the ground. You don't have to have leadership roles or official titles to be a leader in your center. And I think everyone knows who that person is in their center. We all have one, right? So be that person more often than not. And you're not going to be that person all the time. We're human, right? That is also pushing the message, creating the opportunities, like spreading that ripple effect is when you're creating those positive environments from the ground level up, because people want to work at those centers. They do.
I tell people all the time is not everybody, most people want to be a leader, but also if you are looking for a leader that comes with the promotion, right, or maybe you just want to be a leader at the lowest level, which is completely fine, is you're not a leader without followership. Yeah. So what are you doing to have followership? Are you being the negative Nelly that's tainting the water? And you think that's followership? I would say self-reflect on that. Yeah. But if it's more of like, hey, this is an influential person in the center because I respect that person and stuff. Like, your people are going to be drawn to you, and you're going to be there like, dude, become a CTO, become a supervisor. Those are the people you're going to pour in. But if nobody follows you because you don't show up, or you don't if you're not doing anything to move the center forward and like kind of focusing some of your energy to your team, you're not growing that followership. And I think that's important for people. People want to be able to be like, I like her, I'm going to follow her. I like him, I'm going to follow him.
And you know what? I think sometimes you're going to get like rejection from so if let's say you're in a center and you're you feel like you have this great idea and you bring it to the person who's making the decisions and they don't take it, or they don't run with it, or it kind of gets left on the back burner, and you gotta have a little thick skin there, and you gotta keep asking, keep bringing ideas, keep putting that to the forefront. Shoot your shot, because something's gonna hit. Something is gonna land. But I think sometimes we can get caught in I tried that already, Ashley. It's not gonna work. They didn't accept it when I,
3 years ago. Yeah, you're right. You did try that 3 years ago.
Yeah, so.
It's a new time now.
Yeah, you just have to be willing to hear those no's, because eventually you're going to hear yeses, right? And finding different ways, finding different avenues, finding different resources to support you and validate the thing you're bringing to the table, it all matters.
Yes. And to all my sports people, I say this often, is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you're not taking shots, then that's your problem.
Yeah, John Wooden.
And I tell you, right? I'm like, hey, but I will also tell you is don't forget that 333 if you're batting average 333, that's Hall of Fame. That's Hall of Fame worthy. So, and I'm stealing that one from, you know who you are. I stole that one from you, but, and I get that one often, is that like,
I was a basketball player. I don't know what we talking about.
But if you think about it, no one's batting 1,000. We're considering a good 333 batting average is Hall of Fame worthy. And that's like, you do the math, girl. That is not like great.
I have no basketball or baseball knowledge. So people don't bat thousands. That's not
no one's batting 1,000.
So that's the haha.
Yes, that's like going 5 for 5 every game. Like I'm getting on base every time I bat. I never fly out. I never strike out. I never.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Learn something new every day on this podcast.
Like saying, sorry.
I was like,
and for all you sports people that are like, that was Megan, you didn't explain that well. Look, I'm dealing with a basketball pro over here. Okay, I had to make my baseball analogy.
No, I mean, but you're right. Like 333 is Hall of Fame. Batting 1,000 is the haha. Like, yeah, you really only got to try to get at 100, 125. Like, what's a bottom good? You know, like,
exactly. And is there if the bottom good? Again, sorry, we're going down the baseball analogy, but you could be 125, but if you had the clutch hit that scored the winning run, who cares if you're by 125 if you're winning the
March
game?
Madness, Duke and UConn men's. That dude hadn't hit a 3. He had he hadn't shown up at all that game.
Who is this guy?
And then
and now everyone knows his name.
Duke. I think it's Duke turned the ball over. They swung the ball in. They passed it one more time, and this dude just chucks it, and it goes in. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't hitting much
because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I'm telling you.
And now we're gonna go play basketball. So if you guys want to come on that event,
that will be our next social event. No,
but genuinely, that's a silly sport. Corny analogies aside, genuinely, you have to be willing to have the conversation, to hear the no's, to get rejected when you're trying to have a courageous conversation. Not everyone's going to appreciate your courageous conversation, but you got to be willing to do it. Mm-hmm. And that is what leadership looks like. And it does not involve a rank. It doesn't involve a title. Sometimes it just involves me going, look, homie, I love you. But insert whatever the hell the issue is, right? And let's work through it, You
hear me say all the time, peer pressure is the best pressure. It's way better coming from your peer, your buddy, your friend than it is, oh, I got to go in and talk to the supervisor.
And I've always told people, we, dispatcher, we're our worst critics, right? I can critique your call because I'm not in it, right? But we've all been in a situation where shoot, I forgot to ask that. I got to call back. So when we're having just even conversations about a call, hey, what about this? It's not God, they didn't do that. They're a bad dispatcher. It's more hey, friend, teammate, I need you to get that info for me.
Yeah. Give a little prompt and help it out, and then they'll be like, oh, yes, thank you.
It's all from a place of we're trying to make each other better. We're not trying to make someone feel bad about
and I would bet 90% of us out there work for an agency where teamwork is somewhere in their mission, vision, or core values. And because it is the success of any organization. No, without teamwork in any level.
I think teamwork's a pillar. My agency, anyone's listening, are probably screaming right now. Pillars are running, haha. Part of it, but it's so true.
It's the foundation of everything, but part of good teamwork is leadership. You really have to get to the core of it. People come in and oh, I was a leader at my other organization, or I did this before, and I'm this, and this is where I lead and do this and all stuff. That's great, and that's probably true. It's just carried into all aspects. We have to make sure that we hold each other accountable. There's very few natural born leaders. Like I said, there's manufactured leaders, and there's some people that are just built for it, and they can do no wrong, right? They walk on water all the time, and they're just gonna be dang, and it just comes so fluidly natural to them. Yeah. But even those people have to put in work sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I think if we have grace, like you said, I think that's needed for anyone. And whether that's a CTO, a dispatcher, a supervisor, a manager, director, an officer, a CSO, anyone that you're a team member with, right? Anyone that you work with, let's give each other grace. We're not working against each other. We're moving in the same direction, or we should be.
Yes. And helps to close out this episode about leadership and leadership in our centers. What's that last thing you want to give to that current leader, the potential leader, the leader who doesn't know they're going to be a leader yet? It's that last little nugget you want to.
Ooh, that's a good one. Just one. I mean, leadership. Let's keep going. Let's talk about this one forever. We're gonna do a couple more episodes. No, I'm just kidding. I think the tidbit that I would leave Ashley with everybody is we just had a team building workshop at my agency, and the facilitator really resonated with me and paved the way of let's set the expectation, talk about transparency too, of what we expect from our people. So really when they come in with a problem or a solution or a suggestion, whatever it is, kind of to know how this engagement's going to go, right? So he had the 3 whats, and that really resonated with me was what you got, what do you want to do, and what's next. And those questions are going to come up in our conversation so that you are equipped when you come into the conversation, you know what I'm going to ask. And this is how we move to a yes. This is how we move to accomplish that. So I think those are my tidbits. And that applies whether you're a dispatcher, CTO, again, any level if you kind of have that mindset, you're coming in with a positive approach, positive attitude, solution oriented, but also growth mindset, right? Like you're looking to grow. So I think if you kind of put those 3 whats together, which I have made into a poster and it's in all of our offices at work now. But I say that visual reminder kind of helps keep me on task with my leadership.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great example of something just so simple. And plus, I think in professional development, I want to bring something to my manager. Where do I start?
Yes.
Oh, the W's. You know, as dispatchers love W's. Who, what, where, when, why, weapons. We just add a couple more W's in there.
I'm telling you. It's not a guessing game then, at least,
it's not a guessing game. No, I love that. That's wonderful. I think I would say at this stage in my career that I am is like, do the thing. Don't be afraid to do the thing. Implement the thing, create the newsletter, have the conversations, do the training, propose the insert whatever nonsense here. Not everyone's going to love it. Not everyone's going to appreciate it. Just do it because someone will. Someone's going to take something from it. Someone's going to find value in it. Don't be afraid to pivot. When one thing isn't working, do another.
So that brings us to the good old wrap-up riff, just because, we like to have a little fun before we sign off.
Yes.
So I'm going to throw at you, Ashley, finish this one. You're a dispatcher when...
It is 100 degrees outside, but you still wear a sweater into work because I do not dress for the weather. I dress for my dispatch center.
Ooh, that's a great one. Great one. True story. True story. Okay. You're a dispatcher when... you have to make a decision of what Stanley, Yeti, water bottle, whatever hydro flask you're going to bring this week. What's going to be in the rotation this week, right? When you have a lineup to choose from, I would say, yeah.
With that,
our time is done.
Our time is done. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another amazing episode here on the First Call Ready podcast. We are rolling through this season. It's going to be over just like that. It's one day, it's just going to be our last episode. It's going to be so sad. But don't forget, check out firstcallready.com. We have our podcast merch available as well for purchase. All those proceeds just go back into creating our resources, making them affordable for current and aspiring dispatchers. And
we love seeing you rep our team. We're on the same team.
We love seeing you rep the squad. So check out firstcallready.com.
Send us pics.
Send pics. Subscribe, tell a friend, and
at that, we'll see you next time.
Stay raspy.
Stay ready.